Now you need to make sure you know your factors of 100 to do this, and this is important. When you're changing fractions into percentages, always multiply by 100 over 1 first. So this first one is being set out for you. So at half you do times 100 over 1. Now we'll look at that bit just in a minute. It says if the denominator of the fraction is a factor of 100, just reduce it with 100. So there's the denominator of our first fraction, and that is a factor of 100. So what we're going to do is reduce 2 and 100 in the 2 times table. So we say that's 1 times 2, that's 50 times 2. And then if you remember, you multiply your top numbers together. 1 times 50 is 50, and your bottom numbers, 1 times 1 is 1. Now if you've got 1 at the bottom of a fraction, it means it's just a whole number. So another way of saying 50 over 1 is 50, and that is 50%. So let's look at the next one. So remember, this time you have to write it in yourself. So you write times 100 over 1. Then you check this bottom number. Now 25 is a factor of 100, so we can reduce 25 and 100 in the 25 times table. So that's 1 times 25, and that's 4 times 25. And then we're going to multiply our top numbers together. So 2 times 4 is 8. 1 times 1 is 1. So as long as you've got 1 on the bottom, you know it's a whole number, and that answer is percent. And then one more here. So first of all, we write times 100 over 1. Then we reduce it in the 10 times table, because 10 is a factor of 100. So that's 1 times 10, that's 10 times 10. Then we've got 9 times 10 is 90 at the top. 1 times 1 is 1 at the bottom. 90 over 1 is just 90, and that is percent. Right, now we're going to look at what happens if the bottom number is not a factor of 100. So we've got the first one written out for us. It already says times 100 over 1. Now 90 is not a factor of 100. So what we do is, first of all, we reduce this fraction first. Now 72 and 90 are both in the 9 times table. So if we divide by 9, we've got 8 times 9, and we've got 10 times 9. And that leaves us with 10 at the bottom, which is a factor of 100. So now we can go diagonally like that. So we say that's 1 times 10, and that's 10 times 10. Then we've got 8 times 10 is 80. 1 times 1 is 1, so we know we've got 1 at the bottom, so it's 80%. Right, number 7. First of all, remember, always write times 100 over 1. 22 is not a factor of 100, so we need to reduce this fraction. Now those are both in the 11 times table, so if we divide by 11, we've got 1 times 11 and 2 times 11. 2 is a factor of 100, so we can reduce it diagonally now. So we can say that's 1 times 2, and that's 50 times 2. And that leaves us with 1 times 50 at the top, 1 times 1 at the bottom, so your answer is 50%. And then the last one, times 100 over 1. Now, 9 and 50, 15 is not a factor of 100, but we can reduce these in the 3 times table. That's 3 times 9, 3 times 3, sorry, and that's 5 times 3. And then we can go diagonally in the 5s. 1 times 5 and 20 times 5. And that leaves us with 3 times 20 is 60 at the top. 1 times 1 is 1 at the bottom. So your answer is 60%.